What's up, everyone? This is Pastor Gibson, and this is Occult Nachos. So, this is day one of Cyclomancy. I did the first two exercises. I'm going to discuss them now. So, again, I'm documenting my work with the book Cyclomancy, The Secret of Psychic Power Control, which is a highly recommended book if you want to have greater control over your mind and body, which who doesn't, right? So, I had started working with this book maybe last spring. I fell off, like how sometimes these things go. But after watching a Brother Panic video where he was discussing this book at length, I was reinvigorated to keep going because it's the effort that creates the change. It's not necessarily the success. It's the effort leads to success, which I was like, ooh, okay. So even your failure, you are succeeding. So I did the first two exercises. And it's really interesting because you can name it. You can name the spiritual practice or whatever you want to call it, occult practice, anything. It's all about your mind, right? Meditation is all about transforming your mind, strengthening your mind, and focusing your mind, and just being able to not get bullied by your mind, frankly, because the mind, when it's running amok and the ego's running amok, it'll just bully you. It'll just bully you in so many different ways, and it won't live up to its highest potential, which is you, and me, you in charge of your own minds, and me in charge of my own mind to the highest degree. And so that's what this book is about, and there's different exercises about how to do it. So the first two, essentially you just take a bowl of cool water, right? You put it in a bowl, enough to put your hand into. You put your left hand in. You tell yourself that this bowl is warm. Oh, it feels cold, but you're telling yourself it's warm. So you kind of work on, what that looks like in your mind. They kind of, Frank Rudolph Young, who is the author of the book, he puts it like sending a rocket from your frontal lobe to the top of your head and then to your nerves. So it's in your left hand, you imagine that you're sending a rocket of like warm, all the way up to the top of your head, down through the back of your neck, through your shoulders, into your hand, right? And you're sending that message to your hand. And you just keep doing this a few times. You do it 4 or 5 times of warm, like, oh, warmer, even warmer, right? You just keep sending this message to your nerves, to your hand nerves, that this is actually warm. It is not cold. And he makes a key distinction. I think it's very important. It's like you don't imagine your hand is in front of a fire or something, right? Because that's sort of cheating. That's using your power of imagination to create the reality that you want your hand to experience. This is where it's like your conscious mind is just telling your hand it is warm. It is not cold, right? And just working on that. And what I was saying before, the effort of doing this it wakes up, it invigorates and begins working on parts of our minds that maybe have been dormant, that's, have been active. Usually it's like, oh, our hand is cold, better put on gloves, right? We kind of just externalize the problem rather than being like, oh, well, I could probably use my mind to tell my body what I want it to do, right? That's not the way we usually approach things. So this book is about like, no, you can be in control of your own body if you just practice on being in control of your body, these little exercises and games. And so then the second exercise was take your right hand. It's a nice right hand. Look at that hand. That could be a hand model. You take your right hand, you put it in warm water. See where this is going. And then, through your conscious mind control, you tell yourself that it is actually in cold water or cooler water. And you do this repeatedly, a few times. And it's one of those things where if I hadn't heard the thing about effort, I'd probably be very, disillusioned, disappointed. One of those disses. Just because I always want success, and everybody always wants success immediately. But again, that's not what this is about. You're working towards success, obviously, but in the working, you're developing those nerves. Like if there is a yoga pose that's difficult or challenging to do, and you're working on it and you can't hold it for very long, or you just fall over, or just you're not nailing it to the level where you feel you've accomplished it. Every time you quote unquote fail, you're actually improving. And we sort of know this, but we sometimes forget it. I know I forget it, right? We want to start doing something, then success immediately, right? But as someone once said, success and failure aren't opposites. Failures are on the way to success, right? Failures are the road to success. So, same thing with this. And when I was doing it, I felt that I at least got to it feeling neutral, where it didn't feel like it was my left hand in the cold water. It didn't feel like, oh wow, am I about to take a bath? Like, oh, this is so warm. It didn't feel like that, but it didn't feel cold. It felt neutral. So I'm like, okay, this is working. If it's feeling neutral, it's working, right? And same thing, the other one, it felt neutral. It didn't feel like, oh wow, am I about to do the ice bucket challenge? Remember that? Remember the ice bucket challenge? Good times. Oh man, good times. I guess I never did. Anywho's, so it was definitely a very enlightening and good experience and good exercise, because it's all about strengthening your mind. Because the universe is mental, the mind is all. So you know what that means? Your mind is the universe. The universe is your mind. So strengthening, controlling, focusing, expanding your own mind is how you control, expand, strengthen your own universe and the universe at large. So that's what I'm working on in my days and nights and evenings and afternoons and early morns and late afternoons and all the different parts of the day. That is what I'm working on, through meditation, through exercises like this in this book, all sorts of things. And soon I'm going to start a series of videos about my astral projection work, because that's, Brother Pat put it like this: if you can work on this book and also work on, there's a few astral projection books that are really good that I have. That's, Astral Dynamics is the one he mentioned, which is a very, very thorough book. Like some of these astral projection people, like, they've been doing like 25, 30 years of research with themselves, with other people, with groups, on just like the shit that works. And the dude Robert Bruce, who wrote Astral Dynamics, that's what he did. Like, he had a whole center. He does. I'm guessing he's still alive. I don't know, but he had a whole center where he would work on what techniques work, what techniques didn't work, and he put it in this very, maybe intense is the right word, this very thorough book about astral projection. So I'm going to start doing videos about that and working on developing my astral projection skills. But actually, which is mentioned in Cyclomancy, developing these psychic powers helps you with astral projection, because you have a better control over your mind and body. So things you want to do with your mind and body, you have a better control of doing them. So that's that. That's today's update. If you want to do this Cyclomancy exercise, experiment, expedition with me, you can find this PDF online. And eventually I'll put in the description, I'll put in I'll put in a link where you can download it. But if you can type and you know how to get to Google, and you know how to download things, you can find this book. It's out here. It's out of print in the physical form. I mean, you could probably buy a copy somewhere, but it'd probably be very expensive. But you can get PDF for free. So check it out. Strengthen that mind. Work on those psychic powers, people. Or not. It's up to you. All right. Bye.